on digital radio, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Football in general.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented by The Sportscast.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk with Victor Arocho and Byron Jones. And here's your host, Victor Arocho.
All right, let's get it back live out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to, and the Poconos. Welcome to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk, hosted by Byron Jones and Victor Arocho, brought to you by The Sportscast. Today's January 9th, 2024. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Sportscast on all our channels.
Whoa.
2025. Oh, man, I forgot that one change there. 2025. Sorry, it went back. I was hoping to go back 1 year. I didn't want to go this year. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Sportscast on all our channels, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify. Also, we are streaming on your favorite podcasting service, so look up the Jersey Boys Sports Talk. Please leave a rating and a review. It'll help us out tremendously. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Sportscast on YouTube. You'll be hitting notifications. You'll know anytime one of our shows go on, particularly Jersey Boys Sports Talk. We are streaming live every Thursday at 8 p.m. on YouTube and in Facebook. So let's get ready to rumble, Mr. Byron Jones, right out of the Poconos. What's the temperature there?
9. That's all you need to say is just 9.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. Well, it's 40 something degrees here, which is pretty cold for us. I love it though. It's like an ice box, man. I sleep like a baby. All right, we got one of our fellow Giant fans and regular host on the show, Mr. Alex Quirk. Welcome to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk, and Happy New Year and good luck to 2025.
Yes, Happy New Year. And from tropical Kennebunk, Maine, where it is 25 degrees according to my watch. So
it's
apparently
25?
that's cold. 25. So not as cold as the Poconos, but you know.
So you're warmer than the Poconos.
Apparently.
Well, it's nice here. Let me tell you. All I do
25.
It's 25. So it's 40 something, 25, and then 9. All right, we got a lot to cover. Let me get some of these banners going. Yep. Bang. Okay, save and go. All right. So let's get started. Let's talk a little bit Giant talk, and we're gonna get into the big stuff that's happening. Okay, so Malik Neighbors, right? One thing Byron, how can you still just say this guy's not a superstar? Like this guy's had terrible quarterbacks. He's had multiple quarterbacks, broken records. Huh? Excuse me?
He just got there, man. He's not a super. He just got there. He's not a superstar.
This guy is a superstar in the makings. Go ahead, Alex.
I think he's electric. I mean, I think part of it is he's on a really bad team, and unlike – I'm just going to throw out Odell for not necessarily a one-to-one comparison, but for the sake of high-profile receiver. The Giants used to still have how many primetime games 10 years ago? So you saw more of Odell. Like what the Giants had, like maybe one Sunday night, a Thursday night, and that was basically it. Like they weren't really in prime time to see them much. They were usually hidden because they were really bad. But I agree. He was very electric with what was given to him between either – the passing paisan here, Drew Lock or Daniel Jones. It's been a trying season, but it's a bright spot.
I mean, dude, the guy's had, other than Daniel Jones, he's had some of the worst quarterbacks thrown to him to still make those catches. He's the only good guy on the team. It's not like you don't know it. Like, it's like, come on, Byron, this guy is a superstar in the making. I am super happy with Malik Neighbors. Okay, and what do you think about the Giants? The first time I don't want them to win a game, they actually win a game. I mean, that shows nobody wants to tank and guys are out there. I think Drew Lock was like trying to fight for a spot, but that crushed us on the pick. What are your thoughts on that, Byron?
Well, the owner of the team, that guy, said pretty much that if anybody, if they were going to tank, he would have fired everybody. So in his mind, they weren't trying to tank. And if they did, and he thought that they were, that he said he would have fired everybody. That came straight from John Mara's mouth.
Yeah. John Mara's.
So it wasn't tanking. It's just that bad. That's all that is.
And it also seems like there was something going on with the Colts in the down stretch of the season. Like there seemed like there was just a lot of discontent in that locker room from what I think stories that were out there. So
what do you think about what did we think about losing the first pick though? I mean, how do you feel that? Tell me the pros and cons of losing the first pick, Alex.
It's frustrating because I think for the last week or two, and now you are sort of at the mercy of Tennessee, who may already be moving on from Will Levis, as well as I think Jacksonville that has the 2 pick. Or is it Cleveland? I'm trying to remember.
Well, New England's not going to pick a quarterback, so they have Drake May.
New England's a 4, I believe. They fell all the way down.
New England went the Giants are 4.
Or do I have it wrong? Okay. See, I thought the Giants ended up at 3 somehow, but I guess I was wrong. I'm pulling up Tank.
So the Giants are 3 now.
It's Tennessee and Cleveland are 1 and 2.
Right, they went up to 3.
It's 4.
They moved up to 3. They were 4.
They were 4, but then the Patriots won against Buffalo.
Because the Patriots won. That's why.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, the pro is that you still have a high pick. The problem is
the Browns don't need it. Browns need a quarterback, right? Oh, my God.
Most likely. And with Tennessee, they seem like they're about to give up on what feels like the second or third consecutive QB they've drafted, which is quite a milestone for them because Willis is gone. Levis doesn't seem to be doing anything for him. It's just like it's just a dumpster fire in Nashville. So that's, I think, the concern is that it seems there's only 2 consensus top quarterbacks in Cam Ward and Shador, and both could be gone before you're picking at 3.
Byron? Okay, let's move on to that. Who do you think we're going to be picking?
Is he frozen?
Yeah, Byron. That was a hard one.
Travis Hunter.
No way.
Because the first 2 quarterbacks will be gone.
What?
Oh yeah. You figure?
Yeah, 3. Who's going to be gone? You got Cam Ward.
Tennessee needs one.
You got
Cleveland
Shador Sanders
from Deshaun Watson.
This is true, yeah.
And Cam Ward from Miami are the 2.
We need a quarterback.
So who else are you going to take? Besides one of those 2. If you take anybody else, you're reaching.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, I mean, if there's a quarterback that's maybe not top 3, but could be available, because I don't think the Giants have lost their second-round pick, you get someone on day 2.
Well, I wouldn't mind picking Travis Hunter. Now, the thing is, if I was Travis Hunter, I'd played receiver. Now you got him and Malik Neighbors. Because why would you play D-back for D-back money and not play for receiver money? Barry.
Yeah, but they project him as a cornerback and just put him in as package as a wide receiver. He's not a big guy. He's not as big as you think he is. And
I know that, but why? But think about it. If you're gonna play for, if you're gonna go for a job that's paying 30-something million, or you're gonna go for a job that's gonna be paying 15, huh?
That's his best position as cornerback.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's.
That's his best position, I think, is corner.
Well, it's tough there.
Well,
all right.
That's what all the mock drafts say. I just happened to pop on an NBC one, and they had Cleveland taking Travis Hunter, which I know everyone. There's going to be how many mock drafts over the next 4.5 months before the draft. But it's still it's a very interesting situation for sure. Where, yeah, Cleveland, are they willing to settle for ineptitude with Deshaun Watson, or are they just going to try to get Shador or Cam Ward, whoever's available? Because I'm assuming Tennessee is going to take a QB.
Mm-hmm. All righty. And then what do you think about the Giants? They're sticking with their guys, Byron. How's the New York metro area react to that?
Nah. Well, I don't up here, man. They just all kinds of crazy things. They're sitting there saying, if they want to get the quarterback, that they want, they need to trade up from 3 to 1. It's going to be a fortune, to move from 3, to 1. They're going to want a small, gold mine. A lot of ones I've seen, have said take, Travis Hunter to either, pick up a free agent quarterback, like Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins or one of those guys, and have, just ride it out. And then like a lot of them were saying, like the kid from Mississippi, Jackson Dart, I think his name is.
Oh, Jackson Dart.
And
Yeah.
That's been popping up as far as taking him, second round. But yeah, it's kind of mixed up here.
Man, I mean, I couldn't believe I still can't believe those guys are there with the year. Weren't we going on in the beginning of the year, all of us stating that somebody's going to be fired if Barkley does not even half of what we were saying he did? Didn't we have that discussion?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I'm assuming probably you did. It's one of those things where that clip just keeps getting rolled back every time Saquon does anything, and God forbid if the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year.
Which one?
It's going to be tough.
What's going to be tough?
Like just justifying Schoen or Shane, I forget how you pronounce his name, the GM being retained. Shane, thank you. It'll be tough if the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's get. I mean, I'm gonna get out of Giant Land. All right. All right. Let's go. The Commanders, 23 beat the 19s, make the playoffs. Have made the playoffs since 2020. I'm pretty happy with the Commanders season.
I'm happy for them.
I'm happy. I'm like when the NFC East does well. I'm happy for Jaden Daniels. I thought he was going to do well, and I think they're going to be okay. I think Dallas is Dallas some crazy stuff with Jerry Jones going on over there. So we're going to get into that a little bit. What about that? That Jerry Jones said they could talk whoever they want, and all of a sudden he denied Mike McCarthy from talking with the Bears. What are your thoughts on that, Byron? Byron, is there a delay? Because you seem delayed every time I call on you. Can you hear me? What do you think about that, Alex?
Or basically Jones not allowing McCarthy to shop around or something?
After he said if they need to talk to someone, they can talk to him. Then they denied him talking to the thing. I don't understand what Jerry Jones is doing there.
I don't know. I feel like it's just whatever keeps the Cowboys in the headlines. So, yeah, he initially said that because that generated buzz. And now that the Bears, which is kind of comedic when you think about the Bears of, like, going after Mike McCarthy. But, I think it's just really, I don't know. Jerry Jones just can't make up his mind.
Yeah. I think Dallas is I don't know if they're going to recoup from this. You know how they've always been playing pretty good for the last several years, either in or out, but their record has been pretty good. I don't know with what this guy is doing, what Jerry Jones is doing, if they're going to recoup from this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think part of the issue is just Dak Prescott last year, or this past season, I should say, being injured for a lot. Not that Prescott was like the great, whatever you want to call it, the sauce there, but like they would have won a few more games if Prescott wasn't injured.
Well, yeah, but he's better than what they had. I mean, Prescott's a big player. We were talking about the Cowboys, Byron, about by him not letting McCarthy talk to the Bears. I mean, I don't understand. Jerry Jones is just making comments to make comments, and I just think that they're a disaster. I don't know if they're going to recoup from this. You know how they've been pretty good for the last several years, meaning from regular season wise in their record. I just see them continually going downhill.
Yeah, but they only have like exclusive rights with him until like January 13th or 14th. So if McCarthy can hold on till then, he can go interview with other teams. But it's kind of messed up that he's doing that to him, letting him go get the interview with the Bears. And also the other thing that he did when Cooper Rush needed like 55%, whatever it was, to snaps for the season, he was at like 52%. So that's when he decided, to sit Cooper Rush so he wouldn't get the $250,000. So he's been doing, that's kind of jacked up.
Yeah.
There was actually an interesting perspective. I forget the analyst that was on Levitard's show the other day that was talking about that's all discussed ahead of time. That like that's not something that like so with the thing that happened with Mike Evans at the end of the Tampa game, those are all pre-planned. Like if they want him to get the incentive, they'll let him. If they don't want him to get that incentive, they won't. So that's apparently something that's incredibly commonplace.
Well, I'm going to talk about incentives in a little bit because there were a lot of incentives made this weekend. A lot.
Shout out former Giants quarterback Geno Smith for getting quite a hefty payday on Sunday alone.
Yeah, I got that too. So we're going to talk about that. But I'm talking, man, you got some serious numbers.
There was quite a list. I don't know how many of them hit, but there was quite a list I saw on a couple subreddits going into Sunday.
Yeah, I got it out here. I'm gonna skip some stuff that he says. What does he have? Brady. I don't want to have that. Cameras denied. Talks about that. Okay, the Chargers or Zeke Elliott. It's got picked up by the Chargers.
Oh yeah, because essentially Jerry cut him so he could get on a playoff team. I think that was really, though it was kind of funny that no one claimed him right away. Like I think he was basically a free agent for about a week. Like no one took him on waivers.
Interesting. Well, I'd like to see Zeke Elliott do it. We go and you know what we didn't talk about? He didn't put here, so I just wanted to get here. What do you think about your Detroit Lions banged up, just blowing up the Vikings?
The Vikings are turning into a pumpkin, even though they've had a hell of a season, going 14-3. Still, I think it's just one of those things where. I think, well, first off, shout out to Dan Campbell for a heck of a coaching job for giving Detroit arguably one of their greatest seasons ever, which is insane to say. But yeah, Detroit's just that great of a team. And also Sam Darnold starting to revert back into his form at the worst time, which is right before he's up for a contract.
Yep.
Well, they were saying with him is that shout out to Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, who did a good job. He gets happy feet, when you put pressure on him, coming, into his face. And when he missed, and it was like 3 or 4 touchdowns that they could have had. When he misses bad, he misses high. And all the ones that he missed were high. Every last one of them to Jefferson, was a high throw. And, maybe, hopefully, he won't revert back to the old Sam Darnold and get happy feet. But back there, but they did. They had a great season. He's made himself a lot of money, regardless if it's with the Vikings or wherever he's going to end up. But yeah, he can't beat an old Sam Darnold that we know with the Jets with the happy feet.
Well, the deal is though, but the Detroit. One, you got to give hats off to the coach, but 2, what are they missing? 12, 15 players on defense.
Yep.
They're banged up. I mean, how did they get players to even put on their team?
They just Dan Campbell, I guess, is one of those kind of coaches that you run through a wall for, and they're just playing hard for this guy. He came in, he believes in them, they believe in him. by them going on 4th down as many times as they do, and they just believe, that they can do this. And for a team, for a city and a team that as bad as they've been for decades. Now all of a sudden, everybody, my sister wants to jump on the Detroit Lions bandwagon because they are doing a great job.
Well, look, kudos to them, man. I think it's incredible. What are your thoughts on how do you feel about Rex Ryan? And bring some how much he's pandering for that Jets coaching job, and do you think he deserves that position? Alex,
the phone buzz was very nice.
Who did the buzzer? Was that you, Byron?
Interesting. I think it's certainly. I think he misses the spotlight of head coaching, and especially just given how bad everything is in New York, he's like, well, I couldn't be worse than Salah or Gase or even himself the last time, right? Why not?
Yeah, but that was a mistake. Them getting rid of Salah. Robert.
I agree.
That was terrible. I mean,
it was very much trying to pander to Aaron Rodgers to keep him happy, who is non-committal for next year, which is hilarious.
Do you think he gets the job or not?
I don't think he will.
No, but man, he's pushing hard on every channel he can. Right? He's pushing hard.
When he was the Jets the first time, he's a defensive coach. Okay, that's his thing, is defense. The offense, he had back then was, run the ball. Mark Sanchez, don't make any mistakes, and we'll get by, with a strong defense. And now, the way things are, it don't work like that. They still have a great defense. They fell off the wagon this year, but they're gonna have to fix the offense, because I don't think Homeboy will be there next year. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I think they're done. I think it was a terrible project. It was exciting when it came out, but it was a done deal. All righty, let's get into one thing, and then we're gonna get into the NFL playoffs, okay? And the wild card. So let me just share with you some interesting information. Mike Evans paid. I thought Gronk got paid. He made $3 million in just this game this weekend. I think it's exciting playing for those incentives. And then that last catch, those players just gave it to him. You got to give Tampa credit. They pay their players on their incentives when they're there. Okay. And I think that was a big game they needed to win. I'm rooting for Tampa Bay. I kind of like their story. 4 years in a row running, taking over for Brady. Our guy's doing well there as the head coach. He's still performing. So what do you think about the $3 million on one game?
At least they didn't do him like they did the other guy with Dallas. At least they kept track of it, and it was toward the end of the game. So, they could have kneeled and the game could have been over. But I guess somebody, he needs 5 yards. So at least they took care of this guy, because you figure this is 11 years in a row that he's had over 1,000 yards. He's up there in the area with, Jerry Rice, as far as, numbers like that. But yeah,
Yep.
they did him a solid by getting him $3 million.
Mm-hmm. Alex?
It is an impressive feat, especially where you look at the roller coaster that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they went from always kind of middle of the pack, some bad years, the Super Bowl years with Brady, and now I think they've kind of returned to still top of the NFC South. Even then, he consistently 1,000 yards every year. It's quite an impressive feat, regardless. Although I will say that last play to get that 1,000 yards, kind of Strahan-esque in the sense that the Panthers weren't really covering him very tight until he got at least 5 or 6 yards.
Exactly.
I will say it was a little suspicious, but a feel-good story nonetheless.
It was a setup, man. They told him, it's like, man, he needs 5 yards, man. Back up a little bit. It was
like, we're not going to deep threat.
He was buying that night. All right, let's go. Geno Smith. Check out Geno Smith. Geno Smith passing yards for at least 4,282 yards. He threw for 223 yards. He earned final season with 4,320 yards, earning him a $2 million bonus. Then maintaining a completion record percentage of 69%, he completed 70%, earning him another $2 million. Then leading the Seahawks to at least 10 wins. Seattle victory over Los Angeles was 10-7, got him another $2 million. So he made $6 million.
Damn. Wow.
I don't know why it was this year more than other years. Incentive watch was huge, and maybe it was just because a lot of the playoffs were already set up by NFL Sunday, that pretty much a lot of the talk of the week was just incentives more than just the games other than the Sunday night game.
These are major incentives. Byron, what were you going to say? You're like, wow, you didn't know it was that much?
No, I didn't know it was that much, man. He got paid, man. Shoot, man. He had a good Christmas in the Geno Smith house.
No doubt. That's serious, man. That must be awesome. Just to see that. Wait, what is it? Like, did they just wire transfer that the next day, Byron? It's right in the account?
Yeah, like direct deposit, man. I'd be sitting there all night waiting for that. Yeah, wait, I want to see it. I want to see what looks $6 million looks like in a bank account.
Oh my God. Jesus. At 5% is like 300,000 in interest. Okay, Von Miller, he made a 1.5 million, right? Cortland Sutton made another 500,000. Kyler Murray, his contract was 750,000 bonus for achieving 50 rushing yards and 1 touchdown in week 18. He met this criteria, so Kyler Murray made an additional 750,000. So I just want
to their house.
Let
All
me
of
tell you,
them. Nice
those are some serious things. All right, let's get into the big boy game. So we got the NFC wild card coming up. We got the Chargers at the Texans. Give me a little bit of rundown on that, Byron. What are your thoughts on there?
Mr. Harbaugh is back. I think he's going to do his usual thing. They're going to run the ball. Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback. He ain't going to make any mistakes, or hopefully he doesn't. And they should go in there and beat the Texans, because the Texans are kind of beat up a little bit. Like wide receiver, they lost like Tank Dell and a couple of the other receivers they lost. They don't have the same guys they had last year. So Chargers should go there and beat them.
Yep. Alex?
The impressive feat continues of the NFC South champion being the Saturday at 4 game, which I think the Texans have now had this game at least 5 times now. It's just one of those things where in the preseason, if you told me like this matchup was happening, I would have said, oh, well, the Texans. Granted, in the preseason, I thought the Texans were a favorite for the AFC. That I don't think is going to be true anymore. You never know. We play games. I just think the Chargers coming in with good momentum, and ultimately that's what will lead them to victory in this one over upsetting the Texans. I don't know. Maybe they're favorites.
Hey, listen, I don't want to say it, but I said it. Jim Harbaugh is what Justin Herbert needed. You know my feelings about Brandon Staley. He was terrible. Okay, it cost that kid a 1 playoff game experience, right? Every playoff game's experience. Now he's back in there. I think Harbaugh's doing it. I definitely think the Chargers are going to win this game. I don't see the Texans are playing below of what I expected from them this year. I expected more than what they're doing right now. They look a little rattled. They're not performing at their peak. I think the Chargers are performing at their peak, right? I think that's a good fit for Harbaugh right there. I think that's why I was saying that division is tough. So what these guys are all saying, I want to go play for Dallas, for the Raiders and so forth. That's a tough division. Now with Bo Nix playing some really good football, that's going to be a tough division. Let me tell you. You got great coaches in there. I'm not a big Sean Payton fan, but at the end of the day, you got some great coaches in that division with great quarterbacks. That's a recipe for success and a recipe for a difficult division. I think that's got to probably that overall between coaches and quarterbacks, that's probably the best division in football. Byron?
Yep. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it right now. I'd say, yeah.
Think about it right off the back of your head. Look at the names. If I mention Jim Harbaugh, you know who it is. I mentioned Andy Reid, you know who it is, right? You mentioned Sean Payton, you know who it is. You know I don't like him, right? That's it. Now, if I mention quarterbacks, you know who Mahomes is, and you know who Justin Herbert is. You're hearing who
Bo Nix. Learn about Bo Nix. We're starting to learn about Bo Nix.
Exactly. So it's going to be that's a tough position to go into the Raiders. If someone can go in there and turn that around, that's a feat in its own. Let me tell you, because you're playing, 2, 4, you got 6 games that are just tough. You know what I mean? And it's not like those games have been close. It's not like the Pittsburgh and the Ravens and all that. That's a tough division. I got the Chargers winning that game. And I'm excited about that. Let's get into so that's the Chargers, Texas we just talked about. All right, let's go this one. This one's a little concerning for me. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I am disappointed with what I've seen. I was on the big high wagon, remember, with Russ Wilson and Tomlin and the Steelers, and they were putting up, Joey Bag of Donuts was like, we need points, we put up points. We need to play defense, we play defense. Let me tell you, I think the Pittsburgh's defense is playing underperforming, or either they were hyped up or they're underperforming because they're not winning those fourth quarter games. They're allowing more points than they normally. They're allowing more yards, right? And then the offense is terrible. Terrible. I don't know what's going on. Pickens either hurt him for not being out, but they can't put up points. And as much as I love Tomlin, I think they're going to have they always play the Ravens tough. But let me tell you, the Ravens are, this is their best passing year that he's ever had, Lamar Jackson. And they're going to be tough to beat. So I think the Raiders are going to the Ravens are going to take this game. And I think with Derrick Henry, right? It's they got a good that's a. I'm not as high up as I was in the beginning of the season with them because I saw them falter in some games. I saw some bad decisions, but I think they'll take this game. Byron?
Well, they're missing a Pro Bowl receiver got hurt. Zay Flowers is not playing. So they're short one receiver. And, he's probably, their best receiver. They're probably going to turn around and, start running the ball a little bit more with Henry, even though I said before that he shouldn't get the ball that much. But this time of year, this is when you give it to him 25.
You don't need
30
rest.
times.
You don't need rest.
Don't need no rest. Their defense is playing a lot better, the Baltimore Ravens. They're almost, I'm not going to say they're almost like the Baltimore Ravens of old, but they're getting there. They're a lot better. The Pittsburgh Steelers haven't played well the last 4 games. I don't know, with Russell Wilson, what's up with him? They have been able to run the ball with Najee Harris, and Pickens, just came back from being injured. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens at home.
Yeah,
I think the Ravens win this one as well. I think just given the designation that this is an AFC North matchup in the playoffs, and it's Steelers-Ravens, I think it's going to be closer than people think. I also don't know if the weather's going to be like in Baltimore over the weekend, but I don't see Pittsburgh winning short of some sort of catastrophic shift in more things. I just think Baltimore's a more talented team, even without Zay Flowers.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think about, Tom is going to go one and done again, man? Do you think his time is coming to an end? Do you think he goes somewhere else?
I think the seat's certainly getting much hotter than it has in prior years, where I think at this point, I don't think he gets fired with this game unless
I don't think he'll ever get fired, but I think he's going to make a decision. No?
Yeah, but does he want to leave, and go anywhere else? Does he want to go someplace else and start over? Because you figure with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they probably got the most stable, ownership, and probably all of football. They've only had 3 coaches the last 50 or 60 years. So would it be because he wants to go, or they're going to push him out the door? I don't think they're going to push him out the door. If he wants to go, then it is what it is. But I think this one and done stuff, it's getting old.
I think he, look, we're being speculative. I think that either he's gonna. I can't imagine him coaching somewhere else. That's the problem, and he's so young still, right? But I think that maybe he comes because he's a pretty stand-up guy. Maybe he comes to a realization. He goes, he loves the organization. He wants them to be successful. He may be talking to himself. He go, maybe we need change. Maybe there's a change, and maybe that changes him. So we'll see. But I think, Joey and them said it, in Pittsburgh, they want championships, and this one and done is, as much as we love and we talk about Tomlin, I just think it's a tall task for him. He hasn't had a quarterback in years, right? He's got to figure out some offense because they haven't put up offense in a while. So we'll see from there. But I'm not as high up as I was. I was really happy. I knew Russell Wilson would do what he needed to do, but they're just, their defense. The bad part with Russell, because of not putting up the offense, we got to keep in mind this is a defensive team, right? They won on defense with not even quarterbacks close to what they have. They're putting up too many points. They're letting the opponents put up points on, and knowing your offense can't put up points. So it's I would have loved to see them play better ball. I would like to have not seen them play the Raiders right out the gate, but I mean the Ravens right out the gate. But it is what it is. I got Baltimore going on there. All right. This is the game right here I want to see. We got the Broncos at the Bills. Okay. I think Josh Allen's going to go off. I think they're going to take this game with no problem.
I agree. Well, I think they will. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. But I think ultimately the Bills, this is sort of just a nice, especially where Josh Allen got to rest last week for, I think, all but one snap because he was, I think, trying to preserve the starting streak or something like that. But no, I think, the Bills, I think the Broncos will give them a bit of a challenge, but we're not going to be, I don't think we'll be sweating this one out with 5 minutes left in the game.
Byron?
You got that young kid out there in Denver. Sean Payton is an X factor, as far as, the coaching. And I don't know, man. I can see them walking in there and beating the Buffalo right there in Buffalo, the Denver Broncos with that young kid, man, because he doesn't know any better, man. He's gonna go out there slinging it all over the field. Their defense is a lot better, they get credit for, and I think they might walk in the Buffalo and beat them in Buffalo.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely seems like at times. I mean, Buffalo had comfortably won what was a very weak AFC East this year, but I feel like there was at times with Buffalo, like the fact that like their defense couldn't stop very much. It was the fact that like some games they had to score like 50 points just to win. So there are certainly some question marks out there, and the fact that, granted, they weren't necessarily trying their hardest because they couldn't get the 1 seed. They did lose to the Patriots, so there is something. I know the Patriots aren't necessarily the worst team. I think they have a lot of good pieces, including Drake May, but it's just like they did just lose to the Patriots. So,
well, they got the fire.
You don't know Buffalo.
They got the coach fire.
I'm getting a little cold, Byron. I got to put my
Gerard Mayo should probably have never been. That was just one of those. Kraft is.
I put my blazer on Byron cold.
Yeah, and now they probably are going to get their guy Vrabel. Probably. We'll see.
Well, he was there today, supposedly. So we'll see how that turns out.
Well, and look, what do you think about Lamar Jackson playing in that last game? Why did he play? I mean, he played a lot.
Well, they hadn't locked up the division, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm sorry?
They hadn't locked up the division yet for their game, so I'm assuming that's why he played.
Do you think he gets the MVP?
I think he does. I think Allen has a case to be made, but I think this is Lamar's again, which I think also really stands to that. What is this going to be his 3rd MVP if he wins it?
Yeah, good one.
He's a heck of an individual talent. It just stinks that Baltimore can never get it done when it matters in January.
Yeah, because you got the knucklehead offensive coordinator last year decided he wanted to make him Tom Brady and throw the ball 50 times. That was the problem. Instead of doing what they do, is run the ball, run it, and let him every now and then throw a pass. But yeah, they screwed up last year. Doing.
I like that buzzer, Byron. You can keep that buzzer. What's that buzzer, man?
The texting. Somebody's texting me.
I like the buzzer. I gotta remember to text you when I want to buzz.
You just got to time it right when you ask him kind of almost a funny question, and then there's just an awkward silence of dead air, and then all of a sudden,
exactly. I do that is awesome. I'm trying to look at the temperature. What is expected the temperature? Buffalo is like 29 degrees. Is it going to be in the low 20s?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because Denver plays in the cold.
It's going to snow or be windy.
Doesn't matter. Both of them play in the cold.
This is what I feel.
Oh, you're.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, it does work. Yeah.
That's what I feel. All right, let's get it going. All right, let's go to the game. Packers at Eagles. You know, I'm rooting for our guy Byron as much as you hate rooting for him. You know, I'm rooting for Saquon Barkley or like Alex like Saquon.
I'm never gonna root. Never.
Oh man, how can you not? That guy's a stand-up ball player, man. I am happy for him. I think. But what do you think's going to happen? God forbid they lose this game and Barkley doesn't get the record.
I mean, he's still there for 2 or 3 years, right?
Doesn't mean he's going to have another season like this.
I get that.
I mean, you're talking about you're 100 yards away from the record, and they didn't even suit him up.
Yeah, but you figure, okay, he needed 100 yards, so that's at least, on the average, he averaged 5 yards a carry. That's what, 20 carries right there. Would you want to risk him going out there for 20 carries to get the 100 yards? Might possibly get hurt. Then what? He gets hurt. Carry the ball.
I would have played him at least a half, or just played it out to see if we could get anything
he
going,
didn't
because
hit
I think his
2,000
team would have
rushing, he
motivated.
would have played. I think he hit the 2,000. I mean, I honestly feel if he really wanted to play in that game, he would have. Like, I don't see why they would have, like, I mean, I know why they would have left him off because injury concern, but I mean, I'd say the bigger pressure is on Sirianni. I mean, because talk about coaches on the hot seat or whatnot right now, like in Pittsburgh, over in Philly, Sirianni talks quite the talk, but he's not always been able to back it up. I mean, he was jawing at Philly fans after beating Cleveland earlier this year. So things are looking not great for Nick right now if he doesn't, especially if now the Packers will have a chance to shock another NFC East team in the wild card, which would be 2 years in a row. I think the Eagles win in a close one here. I think also Jordan Love isn't 100% because he got taken out of that Chicago game. I forget if it's his shoulder, but he's not 100%. There's going to be some problems. I just think the Eagles will outwill, but you never know.
Well, I think the Eagles win. I think Barkley has a good game. I think they got to run the ball. This funny part is Jalen Hurts may not even be back yet. We don't know if he's back.
That's right. I forgot about that.
He practiced today.
If he practiced today, that means he's out of protocol. Because if he was in protocol, they wouldn't even have him. Right.
No,
So if Jalen Hurts comes back,
he has the practice, and then they're going to see if he has any symptoms after practice. So they'll know tomorrow, if he's going to be a go.
it affects them on that push tush, right? Because it makes a big difference when you're, 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. You're going to be going for that 4th down. Without him, it affects that play.
They'll put Saquon back there. He'll do it.
They haven't done it yet.
His quads alone, I think, will make up some great force there.
Exactly.
Apparently,
we'll
it was
see what happens.
Elbow, not his shoulder. That
I think for them to get a success, they got to make it to the Super Bowl. For them to justify not playing Barkley, they have to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because if not, you just let something go that was because it's not like Barkley's the only one who breaks that record. It's all the people associated on that offense. That's part of breaking that record. The offensive line, the receivers, the whole crew. So I wanted to see him break Dickerson's record, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm still picking Green Bay to win, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a hater. I'm
picking
a hater. Hater.
I hope Eric is listening. All right, so we got the Commanders at the Bucks. That's an interesting game because the Bucks play up and down. You never know what you're going to get with the Bucks. Right, and doesn't the Commanders have a better record?
Playoffs was against the Bucks.
I'm sorry,
Tom Brady COVID year. I was saying that this is now a rematch of a wild card game from 4 or 5 years ago when it was, I believe, Taylor Heineke for the Commanders at the time, or no, they were the football team. They weren't the Commanders yet. No, I think this one is. I think Washington's going to win this game. I think they're going to do enough.
Yeah. I think Watson is going to be tough for the Bucks, but the Bucks are hot and cold. You never know what you're going to get with Baker Mayfield. You know what I mean? He just, again, he's one of those guys that you think they're out, and then all of a sudden they turn around, they have a good season. You know what I mean? Byron, who are you picking in that game?
Commanders, because that young kid, Jalen Daniels, he's young. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. They got good receivers. The defense is playing a lot better. And I think that, he's young and he doesn't know any better, that, he's going to go down there and shock everybody and beat Tampa in Tampa.
Yeah, it's not, Tampa's they're a funny team at 10-7. I thought their record, they looked like their record was like a little worse than that, right? But 10-7 is a respectable season, but I think they're unpredictable. They haven't played consistent football. They've lost some good games. They won some good games. I mean, I don't know if I trust them at this point. All right.
Yeah, it really came down to the fact they kind of flew under the radar because I think Atlanta kind of stole the headlines for the whole division until Atlanta got incredibly cold near the down stretch of the season, and Tampa just was able to muster enough energy to make the playoffs, or win the division.
Well, Tampa made a run, right? Because I think they had a losing record, and then they made a run.
Something like that. I don't have it in front of me. Admittedly, my NFC South football knowledge does not exactly run very deep. So
That's funny. All righty. So what do you think about? Okay, so then one of the things I just want to bring, we knew Pierce was going to get fired. They fired him and the GM.
Well, today.
the Raiders.
You think Tom Brady's got something to do with that?
Or I have some notes here that mention that. Why do you think Brady had something to do with that?
Because he's part of the ownership group.
And they're saying that they're, I guess, let me see what I got here. They're asking Brady to reach out to right to Belichick. What do you think about Belichick?
Nah, they ain't going there.
Let me tell you, that would really make that division interesting, huh?
Belichick, Peyton, Reed, and Harbaugh. That would be appointment television if it happened.
I think he's going to, Belichick, is done with the NFL. He's going to stay where North Carolina, and start the 33rd football team down there in North Carolina, man. Because I don't see him going to the Raiders. I just don't see him working with Mark Davis, the owner, or having a repeat of Tom Brady.
Well, I mean, what is he going to do? Break his contract with University of North Carolina? Because they're saying that teams are now.
Yeah, there's a thing in his contract. I think up to June he can. There's like a $10 million buyout. I think.
Yep.
So he could buy out of his contract.
Yeah, there is a clause in his contract that he can opt out if he gets an NFL job. I think it's like by June. I don't remember what happens after that with the terms. I just know that month has something to do with it.
Yeah, they're saying now, and if but they were saying he took this move to let the NFL know that he wants to coach. You know what I mean? He's not just running this whole thing. He wants to coach. So, which is interesting, right? And and it makes sense, right? If Brady's going to reach out to him, and they can buy his contract out. But that division would be stacked with Coach Crook. Freaking, these are legendary coaches. Now he just needs a legendary quarterback. That conference would be fire.
Yeah, but I just don't see him wanting to work for Brady, man. He probably doesn't have a problem with him. It would just be weird, that he would go there and just have it. He would have to report to Brady.
Yeah, but how much does Brady have? Like how much does Brady own?
I feel like only a couple percentage points.
He has 7 Super Bowls. He owns a lot.
5%. He has 5% stake in the.
That's what I was thinking. I knew it had to be low. There's no way. Exactly. So I mean, I guess it would be weird, but I don't know. He just wants to coach. But then again, you're going to need offense in that division.
I would agree.
To win.
Yeah.
I mean, but Kansas City has offense, but they have a great defense. I mean, Spags
also
is a hell of a job.
I think Pierce has somewhat of a career, I think, as a defensive coach. I think as a head coach, he'll probably get a shot down the line assuming he can rehab his image. But it doesn't shock me that the Raiders are cleaning house here. It's one of those, build now, maybe you get some pieces. If not, hopefully in next year's draft, which I hear, at least from a QB perspective, is better. Because I'm not sure. Let me actually pull Tankathon back up. The Raiders are picking 6th, so I imagine they will not be reaching for a top tier or for a quarterback unless they trade up, which I don't envision they do.
Well, we're gonna. I would just be. It'll be interesting. I'm also interested in what's happening with Shador. So.
People are convinced that, at least for right now, the Browns aren't taking a QB, so Shador could be a giant.
Yeah, they're having a lot of reports coming out saying that a lot of scouts don't have a first-round grade on him, too. That, it was all hype, as far as, Sanders is concerned. And
Sanders player come in the NFL with hype. That's shocking.
Yeah. But yeah, so he goes to the combine. You'll see exactly how big he is. He's probably not going to run the 40-yard dash because he is definitely not fleet of foot because you can see it that he's not.
If
And,
I know Colorado, there's no way he's going to the combine. He is 100% going to only do the pro day, and they're going to make it a whole spectacle.
Yeah, because what they're going to do?
Hunter will.
They're going to measure his hand and see how big his hands are. They want to see how tall he is, and little stuff like that. But as far as him running a 40-yard dash, he ain't running a 40-yard dash.
Why?
He's just when you see him move around in the pocket, like trying to get away from people, he gets caught most of the time. He's not fleet of foot. He doesn't have that 4.2 speed or whatever his father had. He don't have that. He's not. I understand it's a quarterback, but the way the position is playing now, a lot of you do have to be able to move and do other things.
Yeah, let me pull up this bracket too. I want to see what the possible.
They're saying he has a projected 40-yard dash of 4.65, which I don't know if the quarterbacks if that's how good and or bad that is.
Yeah,
that's pretty good for a quarterback.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good for a quarterback. That's like a defense. You get free safety can run that. Let me see if I can get a bracket.
Oh, just so you know, Penn State's winning 10-0.
Really?
I'm shocked. I mean, my quick point on that is I hate that Penn State is such an impossible team to read because normally when the chips are down and it's the big game, Penn State never shows up. And they've now proved me wrong twice. I don't understand it.
And the kid playing quarterback tonight, if he comes out, that could be the pick for the Giants.
Oh, Drew Aller. I think he's staying. I'm hearing he's getting some – I don't know any numbers, but he's apparently getting sizable NIL deals to stay. I think maybe $6 million, I think is what I'd heard.
Yeah, he's getting crazy money.
Which, honestly, because that's also another one, is Carson Beck announced that he's actually transferring. He's not going to the draft. It's like –
yeah, he changed.
I know it's because of NIL, but I'm happy kids are staying in school longer, even if it's mainly just because money.
Where's Carson Beck going? Why would he get out of Georgia?
Because he's getting replaced by, I forget the kid's name, the one who played in the SEC championship and then in the Sugar Bowl.
Didn't look too good, that guy. That was Gunner something.
Gunner Thompson, I think. He's also getting, I think, some good – he's going to go to, Miami, I think. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, at least the kid that played tight end for Miami for the last 9 years, he's finally done with school.
That's right.
What's that?
I forget the kid's name. There's a tight end who's he technically is an 8 or 9 year college veteran because injuries and COVID.
Yep.
Does he got his doctorate?
He should. He better.
Game Day they were doing a bit on College Game Day at the beginning of the year where he was visiting a retirement home in Coral Gables just because of how long he's been in college.
Oh my God.
And the quarterback from Utah, Cam Rising, he's working on year 7.
Wow.
I
mean, he must have no future in the NFL if he's sticking around.
Hey, if somebody keep giving me $2-3 million, I wouldn't leave either.
Well, yeah. I mean, by all means, and then they can go to victorarocho.com, no free plugs, but to take that NIL money and reinvest that.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, good. We're picking up the season as we go. We got some good stuff. I want to get a little bit more into the stats next week and see where we're performing and where the no stats next week then. But we are getting ready. Happy New Year. I'm excited for the playoffs. I think they're going to be good. Who do you got predict? Let's make some predictions now. Who do you see in the Super Bowl? Mr. Jones.
That's too early, man. Too early.
Pick it now.
Denver Broncos against the Washington Commanders.
Oh, my God. That's a terrible pick. Not even close. Go ahead, Alex.
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. I understand the Chiefs have not looked impressive this year. It doesn't matter. They're the 2-time defending champions looking to three-peat. I think they know how to win the big games, and all these devil magic. Right? Huh? Exactly.
They're
I think the
16
Chiefs and
1.
Lions, which will set up an interesting Super Bowl.
And you got to take into account too, as much as we talked about, and the whole, the football world talked about Kansas City winning, not winning pretty. They
still
still won
won
15 games, though. I mean, at one point, you had to feel like that was going to backfire, and it just didn't.
Exactly.
It just didn't.
I mean, it's sort of one of those things where I'm viewing it as like, God, is this what really? I mean, I do know what it was sort of like living in New England, but not as a Pats fan, seeing all the hatred for the Patriots when they just kept winning. And I think this is more of what it is. It's just now it's the Chiefs in the social media age.
I don't think they're as disliked as the Patriots, though.
Nah, nobody's disliked like the Patriots.
It's something about Mahomes they like, and Belichick they don't
not yet.
like. They like Reed and all the commercials
though.
they do, right? They weren't doing as many commercials, the Patriots, as the Kansas City does. Everybody that team is in a commercial.
Yeah.
So I think that's changed. All righty. So we're gonna wrap this up. Let's finish this.
I don't think you gave yours.
Oh shoot, that's right. I think it's gonna be Kansas City and Detroit. I think Philadelphia or Detroit, but we'll see. That's going to be the game right there. I think that matchup is going to be interesting. My biggest concern is how banged up Detroit is, though. Right? Sure. It's just terrible, right, for to be this banged up and to have such a good record. But we don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's my pick: Kansas City, Detroit, Kansas City, Philadelphia. I still think Kansas City is going to come out of the AFC. I don't see anybody beating them in the AFC. Only one I think has a possibility would be maybe the Chargers because they know them, they play them, and you got a great coach in Harbaugh. But outside of that, but remember, Harbaugh's farthest he's gone to is the Super Bowl. All right. So, all righty. So let's start cutting that. Don't forget, we are live every week on Thursday. What time, Byron? There you go. 8 o'clock. Every Thursday, live, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. If you can, please leave a comment. Don't forget to go and hit the notification bar. Find us on your favorite podcasting, a streaming podcast, the Jersey Boys Sports Talk. You're going to see me and Byron there. We're going to be here next week talking about what's happened over this week in the playoffs. And the teams are going to be whittled down. All the rest is over. All the excuse making over. It's a new season. It's win or die. That's the bottom line. So don't forget, tune into the Jersey Boys Sports Talk live. We'll talk soon. Guys, gentlemen, have a good night. God bless, and we will talk later. Peace.